Good morning. Welcome to Canvas Corner. If you can let me know in the chat that you can see me, hear me, that would be great. I started just a minute early, so I am gonna give people a minute just to refresh screens and things like that. One thing that I do want to point out on the presentation that's linked below, there's like a link to this presentation. It does get a little bit confusing. The first 10 slides are actually from last week. Well, actually 3 weeks ago now, the first Canvas Corner, which you can also find on our YouTube channel. So that first week we talked about where do I find, and we talked just basically about site navigation and what is where on Canvas. Thank you. So these first 10 slides are just from the very first week. I just want everything to be in one place for you. So I'm just going to keep building on this same slide deck. Hi, Miss Molly. So just know that if I talk about something and you don't remember me talking about it before, it could be in those first 10 slides. Otherwise, we'll go from there. My goal for this next week is to create kind of like a title slide. Good morning. Like a table of contents to help get you places in here. So this is Canvas Corner, and the purpose of Canvas Corner is just to give bite-sized basics of Canvas. It is mainly so that by the end of these 9 weeks or semester, depending on, teachers feel comfortable building out a course. Whether you decide you want to try out Canvas fourth quarter, or you want to play and build fourth quarter and try it out with your students next year, that's fine too. We will always, we have Google Classroom. So in this hybrid setting, there is no district mandate set to switching over to Canvas, but I know that we have a lot of teachers who are trying it out. So I wanted to provide these bite-sized basics to give you weekly, almost little tidbits to help you learn Canvas. Good morning, good morning. And if you see me looking over, it's because it's over here, so I can see all the comments and whatnot over here. And there is a delay, so if you ask a question and I don't answer it right away, it just takes it a minute to get over to me. So a couple of things, just to recap, the past 2 weeks on these Professional Learning Wednesdays, Canvas actually took over the training. They offered us some training. So they also recorded everything, and the links in this presentation. Good morning to Mr. Edison. The links are directly on this slide that you can click on, or they're on the Professional Learning Calendar. So I just wanted to give a brief overview. Lisa and Woody were fantastic. I did not watch them live, but I watched their sessions later. So I just wanted to give a brief overview. In the first one, Lisa talks about specific course navigation, which we got into a little bit a few weeks ago, and we'll get into a little bit today, but she dives deeper into it. So, and I may mention these courses or these sessions throughout today because I don't want to repeat everything they said for those of you who did attend those, but I'll say something along the lines of like, if you want to know more, go watch this session. So they're really great. And Woody in the first one talked about student engagement and got a little deeper into modules. So today I'm going to kind of combine those two sessions, give my takeaways from them, dive a little bit deeper. And then next week and the following weeks, we'll kind of get over into these two where they talked more about like assignments and connecting to Google. One of my favorite things about Canvas is that we know everything is already in your Google, right? Google Drive, Google Classroom. So they connect. So you can still like even grade in Google Classroom, and then it takes it over to Canvas automatically, and then Canvas automatically takes it over to PowerSchool. So it is still a little glitchy. So I'll give you that caveat real quick. But they're getting to it. there's some fantastic things, and Canvas and Google they just work hand in hand. So it is fantastic. So, oh, I was like, where did the pictures go? Course navigation, and again, everything is in these slides, but I'm going to kind of work back and forth to just show you actually in Canvas. So again, to get to Canvas, you can either go to sbcsc.instructure.com, or you can go to Google, and in your 9-dot waffle, oh, it's kind of blocked by the logo. You can scroll down and find Canvas in here. So either way, you can get to Canvas, and it'll have you sign in with Google. And so I'm already signed in, and it'll take you to your dashboard. And again, on our professional learning YouTube channel, you can find my session from 3 weeks ago about what all these buttons do and what everything is on this page. Remember 3 weeks ago, if you watched, I created a course called Canvas Corner. If you do not have a course that you can play in, which Riley Sandbox is a course, or well, your sandbox is probably called Jarvis Sandbox or Lynn Sandbox or Casnia Sandbox. But your sandbox is a course that you can always just play in. It's not going to hurt anything. There's no students, so you can't really break it, just like when you played in a sandbox as a kid if you did, or at the beach. You could just kind of play in it, and then it went back to normal. So anything you want to try today, if you find your sandbox course, it is where you want to be. I created one called Canvas Corner, just so that we started on the same page. And this is a completely blank Canvas course. This is what your course would probably look like when you first open it. So in terms of what's inside of here, I wanted to point out just a couple things. I want it to look like this. I don't know why the pictures do that now. So if you see the crossed out eyeball on that left side, it either means that you made it so students can't see it, or that there's nothing there yet. So for example, I haven't created an assignment, so that eyeball is crossed out. So one thing that I want you to be able to know is that you can hide any of these. And Lisa does talk about this in one of her sessions. But if you go down here to settings within a course, and then you go to navigation. So also in settings, you can change the picture, you can change some things here. I wouldn't change anything there. Administration kind of has certain things in there that they want to keep intact. But if you click on navigation, you will see this. And you can drag any of these to whatever order you want them in. So let's say I first want them to see the syllabus, right? I know that's something that I want them to see. And the next thing I want them to maybe see, maybe I want them to see the assignments. And then maybe I want them to be able to access their grades. However, always remember that PowerSchool is our official grade book. But one thing I don't want them to see are the other people in the course. So if I drag this all the way down here to the bottom, and it tells you drag items here to hide them, that means students won't be able to see them anymore. So students don't need to see badges. They don't need to see all the files. They may not need to see conferences because we use Google Meets for those. You can make it as more or less as you want. Maybe you do use Nearpod in your classroom, so you want to keep that. But you don't want collaborations. You don't want them to see pages. It just kind of depends on what you want up there and how much you want up there. Some people don't want anything, but hold on, let me get there. They don't want anything but the syllabus and the grade book. So once you get that to look how you want it to, make sure you click Save. And then as you can see, when it refreshes, I can go to the home page and you can see all those crossed out eyeballs. So that means nobody can see those but me. Another trick that I want to tell you is anytime you want to see what the students see, these little glasses up here in the top right will take you to a student view. So this is what any of your students would see at this point if they were in your course. And as you can see, they are only looking at 3 little tabs over here. They can click on syllabus and they can click on grades. That's it. Cool. So if you ever want to see what your students see, those little glasses, and then you just want to make sure that you click Leave Student View. So that is one thing that I really like that Lisa talked about, and that's one of my favorite features of Canvas is that I can determine what my students can click on and what they can't click on. Just because pages and modules and assignments are hidden doesn't mean that they can't access the assignments in it. It just means that you're going to direct them to a specific assignment through a link or module rather than having them see like this huge long list of assignments all at once. So it's just preference, whatever you want, whatever is best for you and your students. And again, everything is in the slideshow, or in the slide deck. So if I am talking too fast or you get stuck, it is all there. And as always, Canvas related questions, I should have time at the end to answer, or you can pop them in the chat now and I can answer them along the way. You can always reach out to me email-wise regarding Canvas. A lot of our DIS have been playing with Canvas, so they'll know the basics, or they can reach out to me as well. So one thing that Lisa talked about a lot were pages, and pages is kind of where it all begins. Okay, everything kind of lives, anything content usually lives on a page. A page is similar to a material in Google Classroom. So it's not something that that students would turn in. They would just kind of view it. So I'm going to go back to Canvas to show you this. But again, everything is in the slide deck in case you missed something or want to go back. So if you click on pages to the left, it's going to take you to a page like this. And you're always going to click plus page. And you'll get a screen that looks identical to the slide that I just showed you. And the top would be your name of it. So maybe I want to title it Week 1. And then I'm going to title it the dates. This is what I did in my classroom. I was a high school English teacher to put into grade levels, to put into perspective who I was teaching audience-wise. I always put in the dates of the week just so my students would know what I was, when we were working on it. As always, this first left part are the basics, right? Size, headings, bolding, italics, underline. If you want different colors, we like purple. If you want to highlight it, and if you want to make it a subscript of some sort. So those are the basics that, are in any kind of Word document. And you can type as normal. Welcome to class. This is the weekly agenda. Cool. The next things on here, you can insert a link, whether it be an external link where you type in a YouTube video link, or newzella.com. Weekly reading would be what I want my students to see. And then when they click on that, well, it would take students to the actual reading. You can insert images. You can upload an image from your computer. just like any, click upload. And then I have a bunch of screenshots right now, so I'm just gonna randomly click one. And I took a picture of Canvas earlier, so that's that. So it can upload from your computer. It can also upload from Unsplash. If you don't know Unsplash, this is gonna like just change your world if you love backgrounds. So Unsplash is a website, completely free images and photographs. So I want winter. And then look at all these pretty pictures you get. Oh my gosh, they're so pretty. I know we don't want snow, I'm sorry, but it is winter. And then you can choose one. One thing that I do want to point out at the bottom is it gives you this option to describe the image. I really like this option because it adds to the accessibility of your page. By putting a description in here of whatever your image is, so I'm not going to do a very good job of describing this right now because I'm going to try and hurry, but snowy trees and mountain, right? We'll just say that's true. This, then, any screen reader for our visually impaired, hearing impaired, anybody who wants to use a screen reader, that is what it'll read to them to describe the page. So I really like this because it is super beneficial for amping up the accessibility of your page. You can also choose to embed the image. That's what I always do. I never display the link because I don't think it looks as pretty. So I always embed the image. You can also find a URL of an image and put it in there. Just make sure you're following those copyright rules. Don't steal images. And then you click submit. And there is my lovely, oh, I forgot to tell them that there was a lake. There's my lovely image. Fantastic, right? Look how pretty it is. Oh my gosh. The next thing on here, on your little toolbar up here, and they just changed all of this, so I'm still learning it as well. Yes, Unsplash is everywhere. So Jarvis, I'm going to close my tab, and I know I have all the screenshots, but this image is also Unsplash. It's literally all I use for my backgrounds on my computer at this point. I use it for my backgrounds on here as well. Usually when there's cool ones like this more than likely came from Unsplash. I use it all the time. Love it. It does, it gives you the link so that you can share who took it and who made it, but it's fantastic. I love it. The next thing, and sorry, Jarvis, you can just go to unsplash.com and everything's there for you. They even give you options up here. You don't have to type anything in. You can click on architecture and then you get architecture. It's pretty cool. You can just download it. Yes, Lynn is correct. It is also an add-on for Google Slides. Very true. The next thing on your text bar up here is uploading media. So if you have a video that you want to upload, you can find it on your computer if you create it beforehand or you download it beforehand or whatever. Or you can record directly in Canvas. They make it so easy. So I'm just going to show you real quick. And I know Lisa talked about a lot of this, so if you listen to Lisa, I'm sorry that this is kind of a repeat, but it's also kind of important. So this is what it looks like when you're recording. You can choose the mic you want if you have a different mic, and you can choose your webcam. Then all you do is click start recording, and it'll count down. Good morning. Welcome to Canvas Corner. You finish. Oh, that's a really good thumbnail. I look very happy. You can start over. You can watch it. Good morning. You can change this title of it if you want, how it's going to save. Then you just click save, and it automatically puts it into your page for you. And there it is. So just to clean this up a little bit so that it looks how it looks prettier, I'm going to delete the image because I want my students to see like, welcome to this class. This is our weekly agenda. And then I want them to click on my video, and I'm going to just kind of overview what the week is going to look like. You can also upload documents. So these are both Google Drives. You can embed your entire Google Drive document. So if I were to click on this, it's going to take me to my Google Drive. One is Google Drive and one is Google Assignments. So you just kind of have to play to figure out the two of them. They're transferring. Canvas as a whole is moving from the Google Drive one to Google Assignments. So both are working currently. Both have pros and cons. This comes up, select file. And I'm going to choose to embed Canvas Corner, right? Because I want you to be able to see these slides whenever you want. I click attach. Oh, because I did not share properly, of course. It always takes you to the most recent, but you can always search for stuff as well. So we'll try and put the professional learning one in there. Perfect, that one's gonna work. And it embeds it right here for your students. And I'll show you from a student perspective in just a second. So that is embedded immediately. If you have a slideshow like this and you talk over it, all students have to do is click play and they'll hear the voice. It'll work through it just like it would be watching a video. It's really neat. And they can click the arrows. Again, this just kind of aligns it how you want. These are the bullets. Those are indents. I didn't know these were here. These are other, highlighting different text stuff. Formatting stuff. Cool. Inserting a table if you want a table of some sort. I used a table a lot because I just liked the way it looked. So I would have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And I would have the date over here. And then I would have our list of things. Bell ringer, reading, writing, etc. So I would have it that way. A couple other things on the pages that I really like are these 6 little dots. You can drag this to be able to see more or less rather than scrolling. That is new and I really like it. This takes it to full screen. These little arrows take it to the HTML. And if you don't know HTML or you're not a great coder, I don't really mess with HTML, but Lisa shared a lot about it. So if you are interested in it, I suggest watching Lisa's trainings from Canvas. That's what that does. This accessibility checker is really cool. You click it and it'll tell you that I have an issue with accessibility because I should add a caption so that it makes my table more accessible. And then it'll ask you if you want to apply stuff. So it's pretty neat. Tables should include at least one header. So I like the accessibility checker. And then this little guy, I don't really worry about him, but he's there too. He helps you view your keyboard shortcuts. Lastly, the options on the bottom of the page, I always make sure that the only users allowed to edit my page are teachers. I do not want students to edit my pages. You can add this to the students' to-do list if you want them to make sure they read it or something along those lines. And we're not going to do much with mastery paths right now, so I wouldn't check mark that. Lastly, you always want to make sure you save and publish. Anytime you make a change, you have to publish it or else you can't, nobody will see it. So then this is what your page will look like. And as I said, they can play it. Good morning. Welcome to Canvas Corner. Just like that. And they can play this. They can make it full screen. And it was bigger. So always doable. You can make those bigger or smaller. And as always, if you want to see the student view, those little glasses up there takes you to the student view. So I think if I were to go back and edit this page, I would definitely make my slideshow bigger so that students could see it better. And I think it went small because I clicked on that little formatting thing. But so those are the basics of pages. That's everything I covered here. And then I also actually went through the uploading an image and uploading and recording media as well. That those can go directly into the page. So the cool thing is that, again, pages are very similar to material in Google Classroom. So it's those things that you don't necessarily want students to turn in. You just want them to add content to it. Or you want them to read content or view content of some sort. The next thing I want to talk about is modules. Are there any questions on pages that you want me to talk about right now? Again, I'm trying to keep these Canvas corners as like bite-sized as possible so that I don't overwhelm you with too much and I give you like weeks to try things out and learn the basics before we kind of get into deep. So with this week's, I'm kind of just going through the basics of pages and the basics of modules so that you know how to use both, how to create both. And then next week, we're going to talk about like organization and like which is best for you and your students, because ultimately you'll choose either a front page or you'll choose modules to be the first thing that your students see. And Lisa talked about this in her session. So if you want to jump ahead, she can talk about that. But we'll talk about it next week as well. So any questions on pages? Cool. If they pop in, I know it's a little delayed. So if they pop in, I'll answer them. So modules is another part of Canvas. It's another way to organize your course or ways to use it. Woody talked about these in his session 2 weeks ago about student engagement. So in modules, and this is, it automatically takes you to a module, you'll do the same thing. You'll click add module and you'll title it. And I'm going to do the same thing, week 1, 2.1 to 2.5. You can always lock it if you don't want them to have access to it beforehand. Another way I've seen modules used is by unit. So you might have, I did it at one point with, yes, Christine is correct. Research paper, I did that once. Like I would either name my module by the novel or by the writing that we were doing. And it always takes it to here. And so then this has to be published in order for people to see your module. So just remember when you're in Canvas, you always want everything to have like little green check marks so that it means that people can see it. But I'm going to unpublish it for now because we're working on it. The next thing is this plus button. This is where you add items. And you can add anything. You can add assignments, quizzes, just a file. You can add a page like the one we just created. You can add a discussion, a header, a URL, or a tool. These external tools are like Google Drive. We'll get into those soon, later. So I'm going to add a page. Well, yeah, I'll add a page. And as you can see, I can either create a new page or I can just choose the one that I already created. So I'm going to choose the one that I've already created. I don't really care if it's indented. And I'm going to add the item. And as you can see, it's already there and it's good to go. Students can click on it and it takes them to the page. Because the first thing I want them to do is to look at the weekly agenda for the week, right? It's okay. I know it says research paper. So now I can publish it so that they can see everything in the module. Another thing you can add is something new. So I want to add, an assignment. Well, let's add a page because we've been talking about those, a page. And I'm going to call it lesson 1.1, brainstorming. And I'm just going to indent it just so you can see what it looks like and add the item. So as you can see, this one is not a green check mark because it's not published right now because there's nothing on it. I can click it. Maybe. And up here, I can click edit. And now I can put anything in here regarding brainstorming that I want students to see. So I'm going to upload an image and we're just going to brainstorm. I don't know. And let's say this is actually like an infographic about how to brainstorm, or this picture. And this is going to teach them about how to take notes, right? How to brainstorm on a notepad. Or maybe I find a video that does that. That's fine too. Save and publish. Just make sure that they can see it. And then that's there for them. If they were to click previous down here, it takes them back to the weekly agenda because that's how I built the module. Modules have them go in a direct order. So one thing Woody talked about is to use modules functionality to engage students, because if students see a long list of things to read or look at, I mean, we as adults do it as well. We know that we have to turn something in at the end, right? So they're just going to go straight to the quiz. So for example, we always like having formative assessments. So quiz, new quiz, check for understanding. You can change that stuff down here if you choose to. And add an item. Make sure it's published. This quiz won't have any questions on it because I didn't do any of that, but it's there. So as a student, you're going to say, oh, I already know how to brainstorm. I'm just going to go do the check for understanding, right? But then they're not really getting the information. So modules offers under these 3 dots at the module title level. If you click on edit, you can add requirements. So if you were to click on add requirements, it gives you a few options. You can say that students must complete all of the requirements. You can say that they have to move through them in a sequential order. Or you can say that they must complete one of these requirements. So I'm going to leave it at they have to complete all the requirements that I list here. And, I don't really care if they see the weekly agenda. It's just there for reference. But I do want to make sure they look at this lesson 1.1 on brainstorming. And I want to make sure that they view the item. Another part of this is that they might have to mark it as done. When it's marked as done, it'll show them the page. And in the upper corner, they just have to click the button mark as done. So it just adds that little extra of like, cool, I can click on the page and be done. But it just forces them to go click another button so that you know that they were on the page for, more than 5 seconds. And they cannot contribute to this page because we didn't let anybody else edit it, but that's always an option. So I'm going to have them mark it as done, just simply to make sure they are on it. I also want them to complete the quiz. I want them to make sure that they use the check for understanding. And so they give you a couple different options here, right? Students will either have to submit the assignment or submit the quiz. And for formative assessment, that might be okay because that's for me. It's okay if maybe I don't care if it's a 1 out of 5. That's just for me. Or I want to make sure they master brainstorming. I can say score at least. And if I would have created questions, the total points would have been over here. And I could say I want them to score at least a 3 out of 5. Or I want them to score at least a 5 out of 5. I want to make sure they 100% understand brainstorming. And then you click Update Module. And you can see underneath these little gray words, that is what's required. Students have to do that in order to move on. So from my little glasses are gone. From the student view, you will be able to see now that, of course it's being slow, right? You can see that there's these little blank circles because I haven't done anything. And you can see that I can't click on this. I mean, I can click on it, but it won't let me do it. It might because I don't have any questions there. But there's that mark as done button. So I can't do anything until I mark it as done. Once I mark it as done, I can move on and take the quiz, which there is no quiz because I didn't complete any questions. But, oh, there you go. Now it lets me into the quiz. And if I had quizzes or quiz questions, it would make me score a 3 out of whatever. So that is what the student view looks like. If I were to go back, you can see that now I have a check mark here because I marked it as done. But there isn't anything here yet because I didn't submit my quiz. And this is still red up here because I have not completed the module as a whole. Those will both be green check marks once I do that. And again, this is the student view. So to leave the student view, I'm going to click that button and go back to my home screen. So we talked about this, and we talked about those requirements that are there for you to be able to choose from. And I think that's all I had for this. I know there was a lot, but those were my huge takeaways from 2 out of the 4 Canvas courses or Canvas sessions that Canvas put on. My purpose is to show you pages and let you play around with pages, and show you modules and let you play around with modules and figure out which you like best before next week. Next week, we're going to talk about Canvas Corner, or we're going to talk about organization and how there's no right way to set up. Every way is a right way to set up your Canvas course. I have examples from teachers in the district who are already using Canvas, and some of them use pages as their homepage, the first thing their students see, and some use modules as the first thing their students see. I always used pages just because that's what I liked in the classroom, but the entire math department in my previous district used modules because math lends itself really well to the module view. So, what questions do you have for me? I do not want to take up any more time than I have to for you because I know your time is valuable, and I wanted to make sure that I left time for you guys to play with these things and kind of get a grasp on pages and modules. So if there are any questions about pages or modules, or you want me to show anything again, or you watched Canvas put on their 4 presentations and you have questions about anything they said, I'm just here. I'm here to answer any questions. Otherwise, that is how do you drop a document into Pages. All right. So we'll go to Pages. And we're gonna go to brainstorming. And I just put that picture in there. We're gonna edit it because I realize that that picture is not really doing much for my students. It's not really teaching them a lot. So a document, you can upload a document, and this is the document. When it says document, it means like a document that's on your device, like on your hard drive or on your computer, not in Google Drive. So, Mr. Overmeyer, do you mean a document that's on your like hard drive on your computer, or do you mean like a Google Doc? And yes, Ruth, feel free to email me or reach out to your DIS. A lot of our DIS are frequent in Canvas or are learning Canvas. And if they don't know the answer, they have DIS or myself who do. So feel free to reach out. Yes, Sarah, I will. I will show that in just a second. Okay, so a Google Doc. Good, because I don't have any documents on my hard drive, so I didn't have anything to put in there. So a Google Drive doc. If I click on Google Drive, it's going to take forever to load. I'm going to click Select File. And again, by posting it this way, it's going to be just viewable to students. We will get into how to make those collaborative or give a copy to each student later. If you want to know that now, Woody's session on Google plus Canvas is fantastic. He goes into deep connections of Google and Canvas, how you add a viewable document, how you add a collaborative one, and how you add make a copy for a student, just like you would in Google Classroom. So I'm trying to find okay, we're gonna just share this bendable badge, just one of our badges. It's gonna ask you to make sure your settings are right. It always does for me because my settings are never right. And then that Google Doc is directly embedded in this page. So, I know it's not on brainstorming anymore, but Bendable's cool to brainstorm with, so it's fine. Click Save. And then this is what it looks like. It just looks like your Google Doc page right in there. You can scroll. You can still click all the links. That will then take you to that linked page. This is Bendable. If you don't know Bendable, you should check it out. South Bend specific. Uh-oh. Did I freeze? I froze on my end. So that is how a Google Doc looks. And again, you do that by clicking on the little Google Drive icon on the top of your page. And again, if you are more so asking regarding Google Docs that can be edited by students, using it for a collaborative document or making a copy for your student, I would recommend going to watch Woody's session called Google plus Canvas or Canvas plus a Google. He does a really good job of walking you through it, and he has students in classes in Google Classroom, unlike me. So he does a good job of that. So back to Sarah's question about how do you link internal pages and assignments. I'm going to go to this lovely button called View All Pages that I just clicked on. This will get intense. Once you start creating pages and assignments, everything will be linked here. So back on my week 1 agenda, remember I made that table because I was just kind of letting them know what was happening this week. If I go to edit and I want to link that brainstorming document or that brainstorming page to our writing block, I can highlight this and link. Oh, that's not how I wanted to do it. Sorry, course links. It brings up this, and you can still see that writing is still highlighted. I click on pages, and then I can click on this lesson 1 brainstorming, and it links it for me automatically. So by saving this page now, students will see this and they'll be like, oh, what do I need to do for writing today? And they will click on it and it will take them to that brainstorming page. So that's how you use course links. The same for assignments. I don't have any assignments created because I'm leaving this course blank until we as a Canvas corner get to assignments, but you would do the same thing. You would highlight what you want to link. Go up here to the little link and click the arrow and click course links. And then you could go to assignments and, oh, I do have that check for understanding. I forgot. Because that's a quiz. It's also under quizzes. So I can click on that and it will link my check for understanding quiz. Always make sure you click save or else all your hard work will be gone and you'll have to redo it. So when students are like, oh, what do I have to do for reading today? They can click it and it takes them directly there. So it's another part that I really like about Canvas is the hyperlinks that they allow for, because students have no reason to not get to something. Especially if you were to make this a weekly agenda, your front page every week. I mean, you could link every single thing and route your students exactly where they need to go. Or if you want modules to be your front page, they know exactly what they have to do and it doesn't let them move on before they do it. So both have pros and cons. Any other questions? I'm just here to answer about Canvas. Yeah, there's a little delay, so I'm just waiting. Feel free to play around. Again, next week we'll talk organization and how there is no right way. They're all right ways. It's just whatever is best for you and your students on how you organize your Google or your Canvas and how you set it up, how you have students navigate it. I hope you all have a great week. I'm going to stop the broadcast and the recording. Again, this YouTube is always there for you. So if you missed something or I went too fast on something, I apologize, but you can always rewind and rewatch. So have a great week. I hope I get to see you next Wednesday. Have a great weekend. Woody's session is on our professional learning calendar, Ms. Walter. So if you go to our, I don't know which one it's in. Oh, If you go to the professional learning calendar, or actually if you're on this slideshow, on this daily news slide, Woody's session on student engagement or Woody's session on Canvas and Google are linked right there. You can watch the recordings. So our Lisa session, she did a great job as well. Thank you. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Ms. Hostetler. Thank you, Ruth. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The slideshow should be below this in YouTube. If it is not, I can share it in the chat. Copy link. Post. Now it's in the chat as well, Miss Molly. I think in the chat on this, you do have to like highlight it all. Oh, you're on it now. Look at you guys. Yes, perfect. Have a great weekend. Bye.